So today, we're happy to have Laura Smits in our studio from League of Women Voters. Hi, Laura.
Hi.
Can you tell us a little bit about what the League does?
Sure. The League is an organization that's over 100 years old. We're a nonpartisan political organization. We don't support candidates per se, but we do support issues. And our issues and our positions have been gained by years of research from members of both parties, studying an issue and about, like, looking at the economical things of, say, gun safety or reproductive rights, and the economical points of that, the cultural points, all sides. We come to a position, and then we put that position forward so folks know where we stand on an issue and that it's been studied. So we educate, we advocate, and we obviously get out and make sure people register and turn out to vote.
That's amazing. Can you tell us a little bit about what the process looks like in terms of how do you decide which topics you start focusing on?
We basically look at the ones that most people think about. We look at the political landscape and say, okay, obviously in Connecticut, for example, people are very concerned about affordable housing. Mm-hmm. We have very high cost of living here, and that impacts people. So we don't necessarily have a housing position per se, but a lot of our other positions, such as just the general health of the economy, would influence housing. So we basically say, okay, this is something, climate change, for example. Mm-hmm. People are concerned about climate change, so we look at that. Our position is about water safety, it's about our food safety. All of these things have to do with the climate, so that's how we kind of decide what the issues are and what people are talking about. The economy, same kind of thing.
Great.
Awesome. Can you talk about your role specifically in the organization and how you sort of came to be in that role?
Sure. I was actually a former registrar of voters in the town of Weston, which is right near here, a very small town. And I got involved in the League because it was one of those things where it wasn't political. Mm-hmm. It was basically about helping people realize the importance of democracy and our part in it. And we are very much in the League. We don't care how you vote, we just want you to vote, and we want you to understand what you are voting for, right? As opposed to just going in there, I don't care about it. Well, we want you to be educated so that you know. So I like that part of it because it wasn't like choosing sides. It was basically about, let's get everybody in to the representative democracy that we have, because honestly, it's very disturbing to see that, especially like in the most recent presidential, 2020, 80 million eligible citizens chose not to vote in that election. That's a presidential election. So that's a little distressing to hear, but most people don't realize too that the local elections are actually more important in your daily life than, say, the federal. I mean, it's important, but it doesn't strike you as personally as, say, local elections down ballot, which are way more important. And those local races turn out just horrible. It's like 30% if we're lucky. Mm-hmm. So that's my goal, is to get everybody into the representative democracy so it really represents what our country really looks like and not what the people that just show up have decided for us who is going to represent them. So that's what I like, that part of it, driving people to get involved, because I think once you're involved and once you vote, you're automatically kind of paying attention whether you realize it or not. So engaging yourself in the community and engaging yourself in our democracy is incredibly important to me.
Absolutely. Now, with that topic in mind, what would you like our region to know specifically about the upcoming elections?
Okay, well, Connecticut, today is the first day of early voting in Connecticut, which we have not had before. We tried it out during the primary, which was a good time to try it out. But today is the first day of early voting. It starts today and runs till November 3rd. And this is something that we all voted on 2022. We have to put the ballot questions on the even years when more people show up. But the state said we want to make it easier for people to vote, give people more options as opposed to just on election day. And so this year, this general election, we have 2 weeks basically of early voting. And you can vote on the weekends, you can vote late nights till 8 p.m. on the October 29th and 31st. So that's really exciting to me that we are making it easier for people to vote in Connecticut, because our election laws are all in the Constitution. We're the Constitution state, right? Mm-hmm. But it makes it very difficult to modernize or change things. So we have early voting now, which helps. And you might have seen on the news what happened in Georgia on their first day of early voting. They had over 300,000 people vote, which was unheard of. So people want more convenience in voting, and that's what we're here to give them. That's what we're hoping to have with the next question that's on the ballot about no excuse absentee balloting, so that everybody can get an absentee ballot without an excuse. We are one of only a handful of states that still needs an excuse to vote by absentee. So we're trying to correct some of these things. People said, but you're a progressive state. How is that possible? I'm like, because of our Constitution. We have to ask the entire electorate to change. So that's what we're hoping people vote yes on that question, to get absentee ballots for everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's really difficult. A lot of times people will think, okay, well, I can only vote on this specific day, and I either can't take off work, or I have to take care of my kids, or something else is going on, and so I'm just not going to vote.
Right.
And that's one of the hardest things is, it's so important to go out there and let your voice be heard.
It is.
And so when you think about, okay, there's just one specific day, it's so difficult to do that. So the fact that we have early voting, we have the opportunity to give people the chance to let their voice be heard is really, really important.
Right,
So.
and it's kind of, people always say, well, my vote doesn't matter. I said, if your vote didn't matter, why is it so many people are trying to suppress votes across the country or take your rights away?
Yeah.
So it clearly does matter. And when, in fact, during the pandemic, I don't know if you recall in 2020, the Secretary of the State sent absentee ballot applications to every registered voter. Not absentee ballots, but applications. And what happened was people used them, and 650,000 people voted by absentee, creating the greatest turnout we've ever had for an election, almost 80%. So clearly, giving people more opportunity to vote is what people want. We want convenience, we need more flexibility, and why shouldn't they have it? Why are we trying to keep eligible citizens from voting? What's that about? So this is important that we get these things just done so Connecticut can join the ranks of the rest of the country and make it easier for folks to vote.
For folks out there who are learning about absentee ballots and they don't know how to go about it in terms of the application, does your organization offer any resources with help?
Yes, if you go to our website, lwvct.org, we have all kinds of information there. And most of our information, by the way, so you know, links to the Secretary of the State's office. That's really, in our opinion, the best way to get your source. Go right to the source. Don't trust Reddit, don't trust Google. Go right to the source. The Secretary of the State's office has a lot of information, and that's myvote.ct.gov, I believe. I don't know about that one.
Right.
But anyway, that's where you should get your information. They have a lot of stuff online now that they didn't have before, and you can find out all of the things about the absentee ballot application. And it looks a little daunting because, and this is one of the reasons why we're pushing to have not need an excuse, because you actually have to say, I'm not going to be here, I'm sick, I'm this, I'm that, and you have to sign it. So if you're not those things, you just need it for convenience, you're technically lying. And apparently people in Connecticut are honest people and don't want to lie. So we need to make it so that you don't have to worry about that.
Of course.
And they basically, the application itself is one of the checks and balances in our system. A lot of folks talk about, voter fraud, which is not the case. But that application is the way we make sure you are an active voter. When you fill out that application, the town clerk checks your name against the master active voter list to make sure you are who you say you are and that you are an active voter. And that's how we check out to make sure that you can get an absentee ballot. And you can actually walk into your town clerk's office now and fill out an application and vote right there. You can do both at the same time. And it takes maybe 10 minutes depending on where you live and how you get there. But it's not that, it seems daunting because there is an application, but it's an important check and balance in the system to make sure it's secure.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining us at the sofa. We look forward to seeing everyone in 2 weeks for our next episode.